three words. You have cancer. These words are devastating and unforgiving. Oh, you didn't know? The words the doctors shouldn't say when you're drowning. I have cancer. The words I couldn't say, but everybody wanted me to repeat. I'm sorry, but the words you never want to hear an ER doctor tell you before he tells you have a PE. In memory of the words you never want your name to follow. In honor of the words that is now your tagline for every pink walk. I'm a survivor. The words that are a contradiction to your outcome. Oh, he stayed. The words that was said by some dumbass idiot. I have cancer. The words you never want to hear from a friend. Just keep swimming. The words that a friend posted on your page that was a gift to your soul. You're cancer free. The words no doctor really believes. What about kids? The words you said when you found out. Where's your husband? The words that are said not because he's never there, but because he's always present. Life is good. True words. These three words have changed over time for me.
Hi guys, this is your girl Regina with Chemo Glow. Thank you for joining in. I know there's a lot going on tonight on TV, but I'm so glad that you joined in. Why am I doing this? Well, because the glow doesn't define me, I define the glow. And you guys, please share, watch, do a watch party. Like, if you can't watch it now, watch it later. Give your comments. I hope that you were able to see episode 1 through 4. On iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and where podcasts are. So, guys, I'm excited today because my guest tonight is Vanessa. I have two, and both of them I have cancer, or have cancer, or heard a loved one tell them that they have cancer. Those words are hard to hear. Even after 9 years, they're still hard to hear. Telonya from episode 2, Pink for the Cure, she really showed me the power of pink. I mean, pills, pink hair, you name it, she showed me the power. And my girl Vanessa, who's coming up on episode 5, what is cancer? What? I got cancer? What? Well, I hope she'll tell you her story, or you're going to have to wait to listen to episode 5, which comes out June 1st. So let me introduce to you my girl, Telonya. Oh my goodness. Someone showed up today.
Yeah, okay.
You say,
not really.
I'm not used to this camera work. Like, I'm going to let you know this is natural. Have my Beyonce fan over here. So by the end of the night, I might be a chia pet.
You look good.
Thank you. Telonya, I'm so glad you're taking the time out to be my first guest on my first live episode. How you feeling? I mean,
good.
You have on pants?
I do.
I actually put on clothes. I haven't had clothes on that wasn't stretch material since March 16th.
Yeah.
Yeah, even my husband was like, "You smell good," and I'm like, "That's lotion." Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
So,
not dressed below the waist. They're yoga pants. And
oh,
yeah,
oh,
yoga
okay,
pants and slippers. But yeah,
okay.
from this up, yeah.
You look gorgeous. That
Thank
face
you.
feet. Telonya, the reason why I wanted you to be on the first podcast and also my first live, because you played an instrumental role on how I look at this world of cancer. You know, anybody who listened to Pimp and Pink for the Cure, they know that I met you in an actual support group on my birthday.
Yeah.
Crying and people were singing, and I was mad as hell. I did chemo. Someone said you have to go to the support group. Valerie, where he was like, I have someone you need to meet. You can connect because I was newly married and kids. And everybody I went to a support group and they were 65 and older and nobody looked like me. So when
Mhm.
our kids, they're like, ours is, we got grandkids now. So you were very instrumental in shaping this thing called cancer for me. And then my girl Vanessa, who is coming on in a few.
Boom! He just was like, boom, here.
Look, y'all, I'm not used to this thing, right? I'm not used to doing my hair. How you doing?
Hey, ladies.
Hi.
Hey, girl.
I hear y'all talk about yoga. Well, I kept the yoga going on up. So,
Well, you look nice too, Sunshine. I love that picture. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Time out.
can't really see it. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
That's right.
Before we get started, what is everybody drinking?
So,
Well, go ahead, Telonya.
well, this is a Pinot Noir.
Oh, so you came fancy all the way. Miss Vanessa, what are you drinking?
I am not drinking Pinot Noir. That sounds so much more elegant than Red Rose. Red Rose.
It's not really me, is it? Well,
At
Wait a
least
minute.
not
Wait a
in
minute.
the
It's actually Manischewis in here. That's what it is. It's
Okay.
Manischewis.
I don't even
That
know what
sounds
you
even more elegant.
Well, ladies, someone dropped this off. It's a honey version to welcome me for my. Oh, our
Oh,
producer
the
is drinking
producer is
Corona.
drinking Corona.
I cannot with y'all today. See, I
I
was
love
all
it.
nervous at the beginning, but now I'm loving it. Our Mike is drinking Corona. How is that today? Yeah, my girl Terry dropped this off, and she dropped this off, and then she dropped off medical grade hand sanitizer because
Oh,
this is
that was nice.
distillery, and then she dropped off a hand spray as well
Oh, where's she getting all that?
from the distillery where they make bourbon,
Oh, see, that's nice.
and it's only 2.5 miles away from my house.
That is
Hmm.
very nice.
Um, yeah, so this is starting off right. We have like 11 people on. Oh my goodness,
Hey,
Terry.
y'all on Facebook.
Hello, Terry was the one that dropped it off. Demero, congratulations. My cousin is graduating tomorrow. He will be a lawyer. There,
Woo, woo.
be a lawyer. Oh, my girl, Sakara. She is in episode 6, Moving Mountain Faith. I can't wait to play hers. And Africa. Okay. So today I did a virtual birthday party for Miss Africa Moore.
Oh, happy birthday.
Happy birthday. I hope to have her on the podcast, but let me tell you, I went with her to her second opinion. And wow, her husband is amazing. She is amazing. She is a gift. Her testimony is amazing. So I did her virtual party at 3 o'clock today, and it was a surprise to her. And she was crying, had me crying, and I actually sweated out my hair. Africa. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Telonya, your mom's on.
Yeah, I saw her. Hey, mama.
That's my girls, Bobby. You cannot tell them that is not their grandmother, because guess what? She is. She truly is. So let me see. Gail. Oh, Tavares is on all the way from Goldsboro, North Carolina.
Go Goldsboro. Go Goldsboro.
Talk about Goldsboro, because my husband, even though he says I grew up there, I'm not from there. So I hope that we have my husband on the podcast. Actually, when we move into our new home in September, I hope to have him on the first podcast that I'll be doing live from my home.
New
That'd be
home,
nice.
aka
Yeah.
vacation home.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Yeah.
We have one in Texas, and now we'll have where I'm going to be living now. As Vanessa says, Raleigh, and I've never lived in Raleigh before.
Whatever.
We're going to just keep it at Raleigh. Vanessa is coming from episode 5, which is coming up June 1st, right? And I almost put it out today because that episode is so powerful and so long, guys. So as Telonya, you previewed it, right?
Yes.
What of it?
It's funny. It's oh God. It's a lot of denial.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of trying to understand,
Yeah.
like, where is this coming from, and how can I talk about it, and when can I talk about it, and how do I feel about it? Yeah, or should I talk about it? Yeah, yeah.
And
But I loved it. The last 30 minutes was awesome. Yeah.
Was it awesome?
Yeah. Vanessa, thank you for being honest about everything, because we miss that a lot in a lot of diagnoses, or just anybody talking about, things in their life, honesty. And that was real. It was real. Yeah.
I guess I was more honest on the podcast than I am to myself, to be honest. Excuse me. So I think it is, I was thinking about this today. I think like having a conversation with someone else that has gone through something similar to you really helps release a lot of just what you're holding inside. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that do that. It's just really what you said, Telonya, is trying to figure it out and trying to come away from the denial, and denial. Me and my sisters were talking about it. We can go on vacation with denial. We can denial is our best friend. I mean, it doesn't confront you too many times.
Yep.
You can go like that for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
And I think that just from that podcast, even having that conversation with Regina, it made me confront some stuff, not about my dad, but about me.
Mm-hmm.
Say. What? You see that ear right there?
You don't need to hear it 2 times.
Y'all don't know. And that's amazing. And I really got that from Telonya. She was so honest. Yes, ma'am. She was so honest to me about what to expect and to show me another side of it. I didn't, my mother died of cancer. My father died right before that. And then my brother died. So all I seen was death and dying. And when my mother was diagnosed with lung cancer, the way we found out was she went in for surgery. They thought she had bronchitis, blah, 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 blah. And all of a sudden, the doctors come out from surgery and says, hey, let's talk about this cancer. Say what now?
Mm-hmm.
And she was gone within months. So it was the death, the dying process. I was so used to it. But what I also seen with my mother was people looked at her, people looked at her, people were snatching, taking pictures of her, and people, church folks were coming to get their tithes on Sunday from her on her deathbed.
Yeah.
And it just made me look at, I wanted to be, when I was diagnosed, I seen it. I seen the chemo. I seen what it did to her body. And I wanted to be private. But you showed me a different way how you could be private, but still volunteer. Like the Sisters Network. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we met at Sisters Network. You and Sharon, you were twin, on your birthday, showed up at one of the meetings, and you were peach fuzz on your head. Just you were there, but you were absent. You were there, but you were absent. You were wanting to get information, but it was just you were taking it all in, but it was so much, coming at you like, and you could see it in your face, like you were sitting there like, okay, why am I here? What am I doing here?
Mm-hmm.
But so from there, we talked after and we exchanged information, and from there we just started talking. So Sisters Network is a African American breast cancer support group.
Mm-hmm.
I was a part of it in North Carolina. Now I'm living in Georgia, but I still am a part of it, far away. So I'm still in tune with them by email and everything on what's going on. There is not a Sisters Network here in Georgia. So I'm still in tune with the one in North Carolina, in Durham and Raleigh. There's also one in Greensboro as well. So they have meetings every month, support
Uh-huh.
group meetings, where you can come to and just sit and open up and enjoy telling your truth and listening to facts from physicians and nurses and just other women that are of the same color as you and know what you are going through.
Mm-hmm.
Probably one of the support groups that I came close to because they look like me
Mm-hmm.
and they know what I'm going through as far as treatments and just other things with your children, your spouses, the doctors, trying to get treatment, trying to understand the treatment, and getting information from them. And that's one important thing that they do. They love to fill you with all the information you need to know when you go to your doctor's appointment to ask those questions. And if not, they can go with you too to your doctor's appointment, be there with you to ask those questions for you. But it's a great support group.
And see, before I move on, ladies, if you have your Facebook open, make sure it's muted because they're saying we have an echo. Anybody have their Facebook open?
Yeah, I do, but mine's muted.
I do, but mine's muted.
Let me see if the host does. And yeah, mine is. Oh, host, you are.
The host is not watching Facebook.
Yeah. Now I can
The
take
host,
it.
the host has moved on to big bold red.
So, can y'all hear me? Is there echo now, guys?
I can hear you.
You can hear me? No echo?
A little one. Yeah, a little one.
Just a little one. It's not as big.
Yeah.
Thank you, Erica, for letting us know about the echo. Erica is actually in episode 8, the 3 big C's: cancer, COVID, and care. She's an RN and she works on the chemotherapy floor, and she's a nurse. So she's going to be talking to us about the 3 C's. Now, I want to get back to Telonya, the Sisters Network. We went to Texas for their first walk, right?
Yes.
What kind of condition was I in? I think I had to get a doctor's note.
Well, so you were in as good as a condition as you could have been to go.
Okay. I'd had surgery.
Because you persevered and said, I'm going on this trip. I don't care how much pain I'm in, how much swelling I have. I'm going and I'm going to be there because I want to have some fun and I want to be around others that are like me. So,
yes. Yeah. And how long did it take me to complete that walk? It was what, 2 miles?
It was almost 3 miles.
Uh-huh.
And it took us a couple of hours.
Right?
But that's okay. We finished.
We finished.
Yeah.
My hair was just like growing back then. I didn't understand this power of pink. First of all, I'm not a pink girl. Number one. Girl.
I know.
Don't like pink at all. So when you into a game, you see she got pink behind her, right? I always put on a pink shirt just because I liked it, but then people would have been like, yeah, pink. So I did not know the power of pink until I went on that first walk. So you were able to show me it's not that it was bad, but there were others like me. And I was 2 years going on my 2 years out and having chemotherapy, radiation, multiple surgeries, hospitalizations because of other issues with chemo. And then we also did the American Cancer Society walk, making sure it's breast cancer. I don't know how you pulled me in, but Miss Tracy Smith,
pew, pew, pew.
she had me volunteering 40 hours a week. Not because she was dragging me in, was because I started to feel like myself.
Yeah.
Doing things again and making strides again. Breast cancer, Susan, she was there. We met her at a support group. Amazing.
Yeah, Young Survivors Coalition.
Young Survivors Coalition. We went on a great, oh my goodness. Where did we go? When we had
Charlotte to the
what's the name
white water rafting park there. Yeah.
Where you threw me in the water.
Hey, you tried to switch.
So it was a bunch of us with different types of cancer, right?
Yeah.
For cancer that we all went and we had a lovely host. He was beautiful.
Yes, very beautiful. Yeah.
We had a lovely host where we did kayaking. We did something.
Water paddle boarding, waterboarding or something like that. Yeah.
I hope it wasn't waterboarding, but
paddle boarding or something. I don't know.
White water rafting, climbing up in trees. It was amazing, and we met some more amazing people during that time too. So you showed me another way. You showed me another way of volunteering, being involved, and also still being private.
I showed you to live with what you were dealing with.
You sure did.
Yeah.
Now, you did. I just met the love of my life for $42. Let it out there. If you listen to podcast 1, you know what I'm talking about.
They'll know, yeah.
Yeah, and I was only his wife for 16 days before I was on that table. And if anybody knows my husband, he takes taking care of me very serious. He is my biggest advocate, my biggest cheerleader.
Yeah.
But being a caregiver is also very difficult. So being a caregiver to someone who's going through anything is difficult. So you actually, you and your husband, we could see another way. We became very good friends. Actually, you guys are, godparents to my little girls who soon as COVID-19 is over with, they're to Texas, to Georgia, and to Charlotte. Get in line. I am not playing. I'm throwing them out. Stop, drop, roll, get out. Get out. My husband's not going back into the office until November, and they don't go back until September. Oh, get out.
I will take them. Yes.
Yeah. So we're going to bring Vanessa back up because when Vanessa did her podcast, she made me think about Telonya and what she's done for me. And
wait a minute. Y'all got on glasses. Let me put mine on too. Okay, there you go.
Can you see us? Are we seen?
Before you go down that path, Regina, I think I just want to say a point about what you guys just talked about. I think that is so important because when people get a diagnosis of cancer, or when someone they love gets a diagnosis of cancer, you feel like your life is done.
Mm-hmm.
So like there's everything, all your goals, all your dreams, that none of that will happen anymore. And I think that that's very important. What Telonya did for you and the Sisters Network by showing you that's not true. Your dreams are not over. Your life is not over. Whether you're with us for a year, 2 years, or however many years more, you can still have fun, you can still laugh, you can still enjoy time with your family and your friends, because that's not what people think about when they hear those three words. Or a week later, or 2 weeks later, and a month later, and everyone doesn't have a Telonya, and that's the reality.
I'm for real.
So you need to, what is that? Clone yourself, Telonya. Everyone doesn't have that. The reality is, and some of the things that me and Regina talked about is you have a lot of people that don't know what to tell you. You have a lot of people that are telling you what they think you should do because they have no experience with it and they don't know what else to do. So if you don't have a Telonya, it can be very lonely. It could you could just get yourself in the dumps, and I can't imagine how much worse it can get for someone emotionally. So someone finding a good support system and someone that what Telonya stands for is still showing someone, hey girl, we need to still go out here and have fun. Your life doesn't stop just because you heard I have cancer or you have cancer. So that is so very important. So very important.
And there's so many organizations out there, from American Cancer Society to Making Strides Against Breast Cancer. I actually for Real Men Wear Pink.
Yeah.
Tracy Smith, who if she calls me, I don't care what I'm doing, make it to the event. But
she's awesome.
To dress me for the event because I'm coming in tank tops and jeans. Tracy, and that is a support. That's men who are supporting their loved ones with breast cancer. It's not easy. Get Real and Heal is a great program. That's DJ. I interviewed DJ in episode 3, and exercise, getting back to yourself again. I'm staying away from the new normal. New normal is where I want to be. I want to get back to myself as close as I can to myself. There's organizations like Healing Pines Respite. Katarina and Jessica. We met Katarina through Young Survivor Coalition, and she's a respite group organization where they let you have 2-3 days of spa. And I volunteer because I love going to the spa. So I volunteer for those 3 days, but I also love being with the women And it's just so amazing. So there's so many things that we can do out here. Because Telonya, you're only one person. If I can clone you, I would.
But you're doing the same thing there with those women. You're giving back. You're there for them. So it's the same thing.
I'm
It's
I'm
your
I'm
circle.
I'm cloning myself for you. I'm cloning myself for you. So Vanessa, I like how Vanessa do the curveball. Like before we talk about,
I don't know why you always say that. Like I'm avoiding.
okay, guys, when episode 5 comes out, let me first say it is very colorful. Very colorful. For over 2.5 hours, I split it to 2 episodes, but I combined them. I kept them together because the transition was so great. But if you don't like colorful, if you don't like truth, then this is not the episode for you. But I'm telling you, this is the episode for everyone. The honesty. We're talking about not just when I hear the words "I have cancer," but when your loved one hears the word, and then they have to repeat it to you. It's very.
Mhm.
At that time, Vanessa's father was in hospice care, and I wanted to thank her for actually taking that time. And I think that's why it was so honest, because we hadn't chatted about what was going on. And in that episode, we found out a lot about your family, about your faith, and about where you are right now. So just tell us a little bit how the glow doesn't define you. You define the glow. Tell me a little bit.
Well, let's be real. On most of the episode, the glow never defined me because I never acknowledged the glow.
Yep.
Let's just be honest.
She never. Well, Vanessa, would you say this is probably the first time that you've talked about it outside of on my podcast that hasn't aired to more than one or two people
Yes,
or
yes.
nobody?
Yeah, pretty much. I haven't just spoke about it a lot. And it took a lot for me to even speak about it with you. And you're like one of my best friends and a sister to me, and I didn't get into the semantics of it even with you until
Until I correct.
you got correct. I was about to say until you got angry and
Correct.
upset and those things. So, but I think that mine, and I keep saying this to you, but you had to break down the semantics of cancer and all levels of cancer to me. And, I'm going to sit on the fact that I was a little confused when my doctor was talking to me. That's what I'm going to sit on it. And I'm hold on tight to that chair.
Good for you. Good for you.
Because when I had a discussion with my doctor, and what I took from that discussion was not that you have cancer. It was not. And this was a year later that I was talking to Regina that all of the components of, no, this is what, Vanessa, come on, let's be real. Well, you're saying special words like stage 0. What do you think that means? We really got to the nitty gritty of me saying, okay, yes, I have cancer. Oh, I don't have cancer right now.
Wait. Stop. Bring me back on the screen. Let me just say that is the first time since I've been fighting with Vanessa for a year and a half, and I don't tell anybody how to process, say it, do it, because you couldn't get me to say those words when I haven't even digested them myself. I remember the first time I had to write it on a piece of paper because my husband got up to go get me some water, and I was about to go through the coffin, the one with the loud lights. What's that? The MRI or whatever. I call it a coffin with an alarm. And they asked me to write it down, and all I did was cry until he got back. And I showed him what it said, and he had to write it in. So I don't fault you for how you reacted and how you took it in. I just want to make sure you advocate for your care.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't advocate for your care, one, I'm going to come choke you out. Two, I don't promote violence. Two,
She does. Yes, she does. She promotes
two,
that.
I care about you. And that weekend that we were having that discussion, Telonya was gone that weekend. She was on vacation that weekend, and I couldn't bounce it off of her. And I didn't know how to say it. I just knew I wanted you to make sure you followed up. I wanted to make sure you followed up because there's too many people in our immediate circle. Everybody that I've interviewed for the show are people in my immediate circle. The last walk I went to, 3 women who I took a picture with 8 years ago, or they went to a walk with me. They are now being diagnosed with cancer, whether months out, two years out. It's crazy. And as we're walking, I turned around to this big group of people and I said, I don't want any of y'all to be jumped into this game. I'm tired of the color pink. I don't want y'all to be jumped in. I don't want you to bear my tattoos like I have from my port scar, from my legitimacy, whatever that's called, flat from your back. Telonya can tell you because Telonya knows all words of Christ Jesus.
Not that one.
So I don't want you to go through what I've been through. And if you can advocate for your care on whatever level you need to get through it, that's all it is. But because Vanessa is Vanessa, yeah, 2 for now. I was gonna
Well,
fight.
I'm gonna, the truth is, I probably would not have advocated for my care if it was not for you and Melissa.
Mm-hmm.
You guys continue to beat into me. Like you would call and Missy would call, one of my best friends, my other sister, and she would like, did you call the doctor? Did you do this? Did you do
Mm-hmm.
that? And then text me, driving me up the wall, to be honest. And you, on the other hand, doing the same thing. Vanessa, did you? And that's actually, again, why I go back to support system is so important because I believe I'm a very smart woman.
I
You
believe
know?
you.
And I understand components and facts and all of that stuff. However, you get stuck. You get stuck inside. You get stuck in you. And I mean, to me, I could let that pass. I
Yeah.
was like, I'll get to it eventually. I don't have to worry about that. So to me, it was no big deal. You and Melissa are the ones that made me take it as a big deal.
Yeah. Because there's different stages to cancer, and Telonya can speak on this. When you hear you have cancer, the first thing I wanted to know was my stage. I didn't know it was 1A, 1B. I didn't know there was different things because when all I knew was pink. Like that's all I knew. And I was like stage 4. And then I learned about triple negative and I learned about BRCA and I learned about all these things that are components to it. And then why everybody's life is going on because your hair has grown back, you don't have the glow anymore. And you're still dealing with the side effects or the new diagnosis of something else.
Yeah.
And you're hearing that I wanted to be that woe is me, right? Woe is me. This is my pity party. So I would have my moments. And again, my husband used to say, you can have your moments, but you can't stay there. You can't stay there. And so I had a group of friends who are family, and I had my family who I needed to depend on in different ways. I said, just look after my husband because I've seen cancer and I've seen what it could do. I honestly didn't think I would be here 9 years later. Telonya, you're how many years out?
Almost 10, August.
And Vanessa, how many years are you?
You're funny.
There's
There's such a thing as pushing which is under the name of Regina Jones.
These shows, sometimes I can get her with that. Good one, you come
No.
right? But Vanessa, just dealing and just taking it in and telling your, not telling, because I didn't, you were one of the few people that could call me and I would pick up the phone. And because you want to be honest, you want to scream, you want to cry, you want to say things that are not so. Other people wouldn't want to hear them, right? And I never wanted to be judged by that. Like, Telonya, have you ever experienced a time where you wanted to express yourself, but you couldn't because you were worried about how the other person was going to take it all in? Or have you always been able to say, this is how I'm feeling, this is what's going on, this is my life? Or that's super mom.
For the most part, yeah. But I normally always tell how I'm feeling. But sometimes it depends on who I'm talking to. Like if it's family and friends, then I'm straightforward, just telling you. I don't care. But if it's someone, newly that you're meeting, you kind of hold back.
Yeah.
With that. Yeah. Because it may be too much for that person. But for the most part, yeah. But I mean, I feel like sometimes you hold back too because you don't want the other person that you're talking to feel a certain way. So it's like, when your husband comes to you and says, babe, you're good.
Yeah.
And even though inside you feel like crap, you say, I'm good. Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, I'm good. Because you don't want that look that you get from them. Like either oh, I'm so sorry, or oh, here we go again, or it's several looks that you could get from them. So
and Vanessa and I was talking about that because if I'm not ready, and then all of a sudden this is all we're discussing, I'm gonna have a problem with that. Or like with my husband, I remember I used to set the alarm clock at 3:00 when he finally let me be home by myself. And I kept saying, go to work, I'll be fine. But I would set the alarm clock at 3 just to get myself up and ready and prepared to have not a smile on my face, but get out of bed for the first time. Just because I couldn't. But I knew I needed to be more independent so I could stay at home and him be really comfortable with me being safe. And that was a big thing. Newly married, new wife. We had this going on. We lived in 2 different cities. So when I first moved here, about 4 days, I think I called Vanessa. She won't remember. We talk about why she doesn't remember things, but after the 4th day, I was like, why am I still here? And I was like, you got to be married and going through this. But I was so used to not like having my own and not having to see someone every single day. We were courting and then engaged and bam, this happened. So every single day having that happen and not being ready. And I think that's one of the reasons why Vanessa, I know she's a private person, even when it comes to her loved ones. But I was just happy that you did share and be honest. And everybody's process is different. When you hear those 3 words, we process it all different. When I hear it, I process it. When I don't hear it, I'm trying to make sure that you just advocate. So,
well, the reality is I never heard the 3 words. And that's where it starts to, I think that if anybody takes anything out of this from me, it is that any stage can, they need to understand all the stages of cancer and all the aspects of cancer, because that's where the confusion starts to come in the denial. Because my doctor never said, hey, you have cancer. She never said that. She said, you have stage 0. You told me, and I don't know where, I can hear the echo a lot, and I hope it's not me because I got everything turned.
Turn everything off.
It is off. So that's why I'm like, I don't know if it's not me, it's all off. But I when she said you have stage 0 and I had a conversation with you about it, that's when you said, well, Vanessa, what do you think that is? What do you think stage 0 is? I know people that have been, I'm looking to see if I have any other electronic in here. I know people that have had stage 0 and didn't do anything about it. And guess what they are now? Stage 4.
Yeah.
So if I didn't have that someone to convey that to me, I wouldn't have looked it up.
Yeah.
I would have just said, okay, well, she didn't say cancer to me. It's okay. We're fine. Yes,
Yeah.
I know I have getting surgeries. Yes, I know I'm getting stuff pulled out, but she never said cancer. So, why would I think,
So when did you hear it? Because it was an appointment that a doctor said something to you. Like, tell me about that experience.
So the first time I heard a doctor say that to me was I was sick and I went to a doctor's appointment and the doctors came straight out and said, I see you've had cancer or you have cancer. I can't remember how he phrased it. So do you think that that's what's going on while you're feeling sick? And I mean, I could have fell off the table. I was like, what did he just say to me? And my daughter was sitting in there, so I was a little confused. I just looked at him like, no, that could not be what's going on. And I left that appointment, and I think I called my friend Melissa, and I was like, do you know what this doctor just said to me? So I said, that's making me think even more that this is cancer.
Telonya, you remember when I called you about Vanessa?
I remember. I do.
Oh my God. I can laugh about it now because I had really good friends encouraging me to take care of it and do what I need to.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of people like me that are out there that, you hear stuff, you hear information, you don't want to hear cancer, so you're not going to acknowledge any aspect of what that person may be saying to you to even connect it to cancer.
Yeah, you hear what you want to hear and what you're allowed to hear. Okay, my sister, who thinks she's still in mortuary science, was like, latissimus dorso muscle flap surgery. Go ahead on.
Thanks, Sharon.
Go ahead, Sharon. Renee Johnson. What's crazy is like my sister, my twin. I love her dearly. When I was going, anybody knows Sharon knows she liked to take a picture, right?
Yeah.
When I was going through and my husband was changing my drains, Sharon, and this was like the first time I took my bandages off. Apparently he was down on his knees. She's like, all I seen was his wedding ring, and he's over there taking, helping you with the drains. And I'm like, it smells like a dead cat up in here for all this stuff going on, the blood and all this stuff. And she seems like the beauty. She sees the beauty in everything. And I'm just looking like this is gonna be the first time. But thank you, Sharon. I appreciate that. But again, it's what you want to hear, what you can't hear. If I didn't have my husband, I'll still look to my left and say, what did he say? Because he would take those notes. Because I was in a state of anger. I wasn't sad. There was an underlying sadness there. But I was angry. I was pissed. I was angry. And I had nothing. And yes, Sharon said, yeah. I had nothing to say. Like, I was firing off all cylinders. So what I did was I shut my mouth. Because I didn't have anything good to say. And everything I wanted to say was crazy. I even told my husband, look, I'm putting God in timeout. And my husband said, well, you can put him in timeout, but he's still there. But in that moment, I was just angry. And a lot of people kept saying, well, your faith, you need to hold on to your faith. I can still be upset and still have faith.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, people would,
Absolutely.
yeah, people would say the dumbest, and that's me saying kindly things. I remember one time I was in a training and a lady, you know, the glow was going on. My wig was crooked. My boob was lopsided. Probably sneaking up to my throat. That happened in class where my boob, my form, was sitting on my neck right here. And nobody told me until I said break time. Yeah. But this lady told me I had cancer because I went and got a mammogram. That mammogram gave me cancer. Let
What?
Oh, yes. You know her. She's a special person in my training
Wow.
class. But let me tell you, Jeanette Gregory did not say at an event that we did at a coffee event for the Java Beam, the experience, if Jeanette Gregory didn't get up on that stage and say, I need you guys to go get your mammogram. Nobody's listening to me. I want you to go get your mammogram. After she got off the stage, I didn't know her from a can of paint. I walked up to her and I said, I'm going to get my mammogram and I'm going to call you. She gave me her card. I called her and I told her, thank you, because I had cancer. I was 36, a lump. There was no pain. There was no nothing. And the recommendation was 40. So because that person that was fate sitting right
God.
that was God right there telling me
Yeah.
sipping coffee. And the first thing they said was, oh, it's calcification. Do you drink a lot of coffee? How many of y'all asked, do you drink soy milk? Ridiculous questions, but they're not really ridiculous if you look at it. But to hear them over and over again. And when I called her, I was so mad and I was able to say whatever to her. But thank you was at the end of that. Thank you. Because literally, if I was 40, oh, she's on. Oh my God. If I was 40, I wouldn't be here. And because Jeanette came to the coffee shop, came to the experience with Eric and Dina Bryce, and the way she talked to the audience, nobody was listening. Not one person was listening. It was side conversations, but something told me to listen. So her organization, and I believe it's Life 08, helps women like myself. There were so many people I did not know. Like Telonya, I did not know you. You know, Jeanette, I did not know her. You know, my friends that came together for me, they did not know me in the way that I was at that time. Vanessa told me in the podcast, which I didn't know, she felt like you weren't there for me because you're hands on, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I could call her and tell her anything. So everybody, Cassandra, everybody was there for me in different ways. So guys, you have to make sure you listen to your body and advocate for your care. Because not only did I get that from Jeanette, my first diagnosis said, you just need a new set of tatas. Really? But it's in my life. And you know who told me to go get a second opinion? A nurse practitioner that was on the team and gave me the list of the doctors at UNC and Duke to go to. Dr. Amos or Dr. King. And that was a second person that stepped in and said no. I had a small percentage in my lymph nodes. And this doctor just saying all you need is a set of tatas. And there was no radiation talk, there was no chemo talk. That was it. So my husband was mistrusting. He didn't trust anybody after that because he was like, yeah, Regina, this is all they said, babe, this is all he said. So we went to the second opinion and all these doctors come and they tell us something different. After that, he was like, I will advocate. I want to know everybody on that. Because you have some people who don't want to hear it. You have some, and the doctors, and this is my experience, you get what you give in these appointments. Telonya, can you attest to that? If you're not an advocate of your care, it's not like you're going to get basic care, but they're going to give you what you need to take in.
Yeah, being an advocate or just knowing the questions to ask, which for some, they don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I agree.
yeah. So
Yep. Mhm.
and they go with what the physician says because hey, you're a doctor, you should know everything,
Yep.
and that's not the case. That's not the case,
And that's
unfortunately.
exactly what
Yeah,
happens. You go into
yeah.
those appointments, or just on my dad's level with his cancer, there's a bunch of doctors saying a bunch of terms, and you're trying to Google it, and can you spell that, please? And I want people to understand it's okay to tell them to spell stuff and give it to you and take their time and be slow so
Mm-hmm.
that you can ask someone else, because that's the only way that I got some of the answers that I needed for my dad is
Yeah.
I was like, we were spelling it out. We were telling the doctor if they could spell it out. And then I was able to go to Regina, who had some support that could look at his paperwork and give us more concrete information that we could understand,
Mm-hmm. And
not
lately,
in medical terms.
yeah, and that's Erica, who again is on episode 8. She was like, I sent her the paperwork with your permission, and she had someone who was thoroughly versed in everything that appeared to be going on with your father at the time. And I believe I even connected y'all on a call where
Yes, you did.
she
Hmm.
talked to your sister, because I don't understand through everything about cancer, but I can tell you one thing: I know who to call to connect you to that, and I learned that through Telonya as well. Is oh, you need this? Oh, you do this? Because she volunteers everywhere, like everywhere. Every time I call
I
her, I'm
used
going to
to.
an event. Oh yeah,
What'd you say, Talanya?
what'd you say?
I used to volunteer everywhere. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah,
Used to.
yeah. I mean,
Not
you
so
were
much
in
now.
fashion shows, all that stuff.
Yeah,
yep.
yeah.
Very true. What my uncle's saying, the doctors work for you. But I
Yeah,
think a lot of us walk into those appointments not knowing what he just said. We know it, but we don't believe it.
yeah.
So we don't put them to the test of, listen, no, 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 no. You need to explain this to me to where I can understand it. And I heard you say earlier, Regina, there are a lot of people that weren't listening when Jeanette was talking, and a lot of people don't want to hear it. Most people don't want to hear it.
Hmm.
So they're in denial. And the reality is the only way that you can catch
Hmm.
these cancers is if you go get your normal appointments, your gynecological appointment, your mammogram. You gotta go do those appointments
Physically.
for it to even be caught.
Hmm.
And one of the things that I heard is statistically, African American women are coming up more with the cancer in the later years because they're not getting tested early enough.
Well, let me tell you, I had a sign outside my house one time when I was doing the Making Strides Against Breast Cancer Walk with Tracy with the American Cancer Society. The sign said, I'm walking for my wife," or something like that, that I put out there. And a woman stopped me and said, "I just had to come and say thank you. My mother recently died of breast cancer," and she was giving me her spiel, and I was like, "So, when was your last mammogram?" She said, "Oh, I'm not getting one of those."
Yeah.
They did that. And I was
Hmm.
a lady from a can of paint, but something told her to come to me and say something to me. And I said, "Well, you have to be an advocate for your own care. You know,
Hmm.
the whole thing about no news is good news is BS.
That's not true.
I would like for you to tell me what's going on. Even when you're advocating for your care, you're still going to have bumps in the road. I was radiated very close to my heart.
Hmm.
Called me back in and said, "We need you to come back in because something was wrong." And my husband was like, "Hold up. This is what I need you to do for me. Because as our producer Mike said, the doctors, they work for us. So what he did was call in the whole team and says, now I need to see the person who sets up everything for her to go be on that thing. I want to see who designs it. We went down to the basement in a dark room, and as one, the doctor was like, well, you know, what do you do for work? And he says, no small talk. I need to see the person who actually did this so we can make sure we're on the same page. He says, because what you see is you see another patient. I see my wife. So I need for you to take care of my wife. So once we went down there, they always used to say, I have a flag in my folder that says her husband is involved in her treatment. I found this out when I started going to lymphedema, and me and the therapist got really close. And she was like, you know, there's a flag on your thing that says your husband is very involved in your treatment. Good.
Yeah.
You know, they used to call us five fingers because we wore the 5-finger shoes to chemo, because we could take off and drop them in the washing machine. So episode 4, that's what you see our feet up, because that's how they notice. Oh, here y'all go again with the funny shoes. I don't care if that's the only way that you know who I am outside of number 2, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah.
My ID number. If these 5 fingers make us be noticed, then I'm going to wear them. And I'm going to get the winter kind, the summer kind, and the fall kind. In there all year. And that's how they knew us. And then after a while, they were like, where's your husband? And not because he wasn't there, because he was there all the time. I'm like, I'm the patient. And I was like, yeah, but we want to talk to your husband. Okay, let me come by myself today. I can drive. So, but that's what I mean, being an advocate for your care. It's just so important. God,
you said, can I pop in? While you're popping in, Uncle Mike, I would like to ask Telonya, if you would want anyone to get anything out of this broadcast, what would that be?
Self-care.
Mm-hmm.
Self-care.
Why is that so?
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Just because a lot of us, I mean, not only speaking to the ones that are diagnosed, I'm speaking to the ones out there that to this day have no symptoms, but they have children or grandchildren that this cancer, this disease could come upon. So self-care, knowing to go to the doctor, knowing to advocate for yourself, knowing to do your self-breast exams, knowing to do your colonoscopies, your mammograms, doing all that stuff for you. It's self-care for you. Self-care of listening to your body, of listening to God speak to you, just like he spoke to you through that lady.
Mm-hmm.
Just loving yourself and knowing your body and doing good things for that to help.
And even after this, like, if I don't know if you guys can see the screen back here, this is a lovely Peloton. I'm rubbing it, but this is my best friend over here. Let me tell you, this Peloton got me through a lot of hard times, because I get on it and just go. Here we go. Yeah. On this right here, right?
Yeah.
Alex and that Robin, oh, they will kill you on this Peloton. But it really, you know, DJ talked about it. When I started taking my spin classes, he could see a difference in me.
Mm-hmm.
The reoccurrence rate is higher for people who don't do self-care, who don't care themselves, who don't exercise, get the weight off. All the things that they tell you to do during treatment, you should still do some of those things after that you're comfortable with. So exercising is so important. And For me, self-care is getting this wig done. It's not a wig. My husband said he was going to put me out because I hadn't had my hair done. And I was a whole nother person. I told him I was a streetwalker. And he was my boyfriend because he's grown a whole new beard being locked up here. So, but those are the things that I like to do because they're therapeutic. And plus, getting my hair done brings me back to my brother and when he used to do my hair. It's just something that we always share. Because I don't care if I'm bald, if it's short, if it's whatever. I just need somebody else to do it besides me. Plus,
Yes.
I also have lymphedema. So lymphedema makes it hard to do my hair and do my girl's hair and not be in pain for 2 days.
And Tamara said mental health is everything, and it is.
Oh my goodness.
It is. You listen to my podcast, our discussion with Regina. You know, we discussed one of, just a beautiful woman where, the conversations I had with her mental health just looked very different than Regina's mental health. So I just believe that your mental health can start affecting everything. If you're not on that right path. It's just, I am thankful that Telonya stepped into Regina's life, and I'm going to try not to cry. I am grateful that Telonya stepped into Regina's life at that time because I told Regina this in our podcast. I felt like I couldn't tell her anything because I wasn't going through it. I didn't know what to tell her. I didn't know what to say. I'm the type of person that's a hands-on, man. If she was in Charlotte, I would have probably drove her nuts and her husband because I would have always been there. What are we going to do? Or what do I need to do? But that was meant to be that she wasn't in Charlotte because she needed to meet Telonya. And she needed that energy from Telonya. She needed what Telonya gave her at that time. Yeah. And then it pays forward because I needed that information. I needed what Regina gave me for my dad. Yeah. So it's so important. Again, I say the support system, the connection, and yes, doing what you need to do for your body and your self-help. Yeah. Helping yourself, but your support systems, the right type of support systems mean
not your snowflakes, right? So, Tamara, when we used to go to Atlanta together, me and Vanessa used to go to Atlanta, have the best time in the little mini mansion. And that mental health was something else. So now I go to Texas with Telonya in the little big mansion, and mental health is like a break. We were there for 5 days before I did that podcast with Telonya, and Telonya can speak to it. So when we go there, it's nothing like it. I've never been to a spa like that. I've never been on a vacation like that because the love that his shows us and shows up. If there was not a lockdown, Telonya and I were actually supposed to be in Texas tomorrow for the celebration following week.
Next week.
Yeah. No,
the 29th, the 28th, the 28th.
Mm-hmm. Look, yeah. She still remembers because she's still trying to come. Right. Mask, a whole suit on, right? But that mental health is so important, and that's why I wanted another friend to come with us. And what was so amazing, it was 3 women who dealt with breast cancer, and you talking about better than a queen. It was amazing, right?
Loved it. Everything.
Texas is everything, like Sharon said. She didn't get to come, but next time she will be there. And I'm hoping that Vanessa can take a trip with us. I'm just inviting people to your house, Demaro.
That's okay. Demaro invited me personally, so
When?
it was whatever. It was. I think it was right when you guys were coming up, or
Yeah,
after you guys had come, and I said,
it's an
that's
open invitation.
expensive, and I got to get daycare, and I mean that's a whole lot.
Oh my goodness. Cassandra just came on. She was one of the lovely, she says amazing.
Amazing.
It was amazeballs. Yes.
Amaze balls, right?
Yeah.
Sandra could not believe when we walked into the house, we all have gift baskets personalized in our rooms, right? Because I was sharing a room, or no, Telonya and I was sharing a room, and Cassandra got Telonya's room. Like, that's Telonya's room.
That's my room.
So Telonya's was like, no, she's got to have the full experience. I don't care where I stay.
Yeah.
Like, I had my bourbon because he knows I'm into bourbon. I had the glass. I had coffee. I had chocolate. I had everything that I ever talked about from the last visit. Tito's. You had this. You had that, and none of us packed a bag that was big enough.
We had carry-ons.
We did carry-ons. Normally we have rollouts because we doing all kind of festivities, but and what happened? His family shipped everything to us. The whole bag was just set into a box and shipped to us.
And shipped.
We took the cookies and the peanuts with us.
Wow.
I was trying to find my Texas glass tonight, but everything's halfway packed. That's why I'm wearing a sweater, because all of my summer clothes are packed up at my sister-in-law's house. And we're not going. My husband says, "Where are you going for the summer?" Amazon, here I come. So, my first step to pick it up. But mental health. Oh yeah, Demaro says she's family. Yep, she is. The Christmases, all that stuff that we used to do together. It's just on a whole nother level.
Yeah.
We get to drive fancy cars, act like we're fancy.
Yes. Yes.
Everything.
Yes.
You got 3 different bars. It's just wonderful. But which there are, okay. She knows where all of them are. Plus, we have on our bedside tables. But mental health is so important. And Cassandra's going to talk about that in her podcast. Knowing when to go back. Like, people, again, your hair grows back, or you just had surgery and they're like, 2 weeks. You should be back at work. Oh, I'm supposed to be back at work with drains? I had an incident where my drain came out in the bathroom, and my husband's aunt was there. I grew up with her, so I know her as Mrs. Lee. Like, I can't call her Aunt Dale. That's my Mrs. Lee since 2nd grade, right? Respect your elders. But they took me out to Bonaro's Bread. We went out because I was like a dog. I needed to get out and stick my head out. And I was in the bathroom, and one of my drains just kind of came loose, and all the fluid that was in it was on the floor. Well, there was a lady in there, and I was trying to get her attention because I didn't know what was going on. And I was telling her, could you get my husband? But in her, I would say in her culture, you can't talk to men. So she was like, I can't go get your husband. And I said, can you get a staff, a female, just, I got blood coming out. I don't know what to do, and I need to get it back up, and I'm, all the way open. So I just stepped out with my leaky drain and waved, and Miss Lee came in and she helped me up. And I know she was like, what the? But she said, come on, baby, let's go down and finish eating. Okay.
Exactly, though. Could you, just think about that whole scenario. You had someone with you that said, let's go back to eating. Don't hide. don't leave the building. We're not going home. We're going to sit here and eat this meal. That's what we're going to do. We cleaned up the floor. It'll be okay.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there.
Yeah.
And those drains, they don't, after a while, they don't smell the best once they're open today. So I'm just sitting there like, I know y'all smell that because it got on. I know everyone smells it's on my pants. And it's so funny we can come together and laugh about this. But I hope somewhere in this, someone can see that they can advocate for their care. Or they can also see if I have a moment, it's okay to have those moments. I've had moments. Telonya, I've been with you in the hospital and you had that moment. And you were moved to a new state. Last thing you were having surgery and you were so funny. Look at this. You looked at it. Look at this. Okay. You see what they put and did? Okay. And I was the same way. People were.
Yes, you were. Like, look. You want to see? Sure.
Do these nipples match now? Like, what's Feel that. Am I right, Telonya?
You're right.
Vanessa, am I right?
I think having the like the laughter and the joy in it all is very important. And I think having that person or those people that you can cry with, you can curse with, you can joke with of things that are maybe not so fun. How is she joking about her breast being cut off? You need those whoever you are that are listening to this broadcast that may be going through something, you need that person. You need that person you can call up and just go off. I'm trying not to curse because Gina told me I can't.
I know, right?
I had to edit that podcast, but that's
what?
I already had to edit the podcast down.
I know. So I can exactly like Samaro said, you have to have the moment and be okay about it, and you have to have people that are okay with your moment and not telling you how you need to act.
Oh my goodness, Cassandra was so good with that. When I her boys were amazing. They kept me going. Those I call them my guys, right? And I mean, they have me breakdancing. They have me doing all kinds of things. And I remember when my hair, my wig, I had to take my wig off and I set it on the edge of the bed. And Sandra kind of looked at me like, And the boys came in and she'll tell you the story. And they was like, they looked, I was like, oh, okay. Like it wasn't nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And they just loved on me and being there, because I practically live with Cassandra when I'm in Charlotte. Like, I don't know who will take you in, let you stay with them. I'm there once a month, havoc with the boys because I just love them. I love her, but I was able to see life because she had children, and I knew that that's what we desired. And when I say an awesome mom, like you two ladies, I don't know how y'all do it. I'm still trying to figure out with these two that I'm shipping. You're on. Cassandra, you're on. Sharon, you're on. Vanessa, I see you. Telonya, Miss Barbara, Bob, all of y'all can get this. Them two here. And then I'm sending my husband away. And I'm going to sit up in my podcasting closet in my new house and just talk. You need that family that can joke with you, that family that can look at you and be okay in your space. And that's what's very important. Like Telonya, you rocked your bald head like nobody's business.
Yeah.
You did.
Whatever. I mean, it was fine. I had a little peanut head, but makeup, drawing your eyebrows, put some liner on, make it look like you have eyelashes, and go with it. I didn't care.
And see,
And I don't think anybody else did either, because I was
nobody.
always at Chase's school, volunteering, even through treatment, and no one ever said anything. No one looked at me sideways, nothing.
Nothing.
So,
That's just
yeah.
like when my boob moved. Nobody said nothing. No, nobody said a thing. Or when I was never a makeup person, give me some chapstick, which I need right now. And I'm good. And my hair, yeah, and them lashes was on point. So when
Yeah.
I went away, it wasn't, I've rocked a bald head before. It was the eyelashes. And I got that stencil and I tried to draw it on, and I was sitting at the top of the steps having a moment. And my husband comes upstairs and he says, "What's wrong?" I'm looking at him like, "Please, please, please." I'm looking at him like that because we don't say those things to each other. We always bless each other out in our heads. Bleep, bleep, bleep. And then he was like, "What's wrong?" I said, "You don't see this?" He said, "Actually, I don't. Because that's what kind of person it is, because I was missing an eyebrow. No, I don't see it." And I was like, "What's the problem with this?" And he was like, "No." And I just was like, I put this, and I was looking like the Joker. And he just wiped it off and said, "Don't try that again." That's all he said. I went to a party and I forgot Flash. Flash used to be the left one over here because it would disappear.
Uh-huh.
I would call and say, "I can't find Flash. I don't know." Like Flash got up and walked away. I can't find Flash. We get all the way to Fayetteville, and I'm going to my brother's renewal. Thomas and Tanya were renewing after 5 years. I didn't have a boo. It wasn't until I was on Wichita Drive, and that's 2 minutes away, and I was like, I forgot Flash. My whole demeanor changed. I was like, I'm gonna doing this because what first thing that people want to do? Hey, hey.
I have allergies.
Hey, none of that. First thing people want to do is hug you
Mm-hmm.
when they see you. And I was clearly blessed with the big ones that tried to kill me. So it was a difference before I had my second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh surgery.
Mm-hmm.
So that, but nobody said anything to me. Later, they were just like, "Did Regina look a little different?" Yeah, I was missing a boob.
And I hope that there are a lot of caregivers that are listening. I mean, there are caregivers that are taking this in because, unfortunately, and I said this, me and Regina was talking about this yesterday, and I said, this is not something we should have in common. This is not something I wanted to have in common with you. This is not something we have been on a lot of crazy, wonderful adventures. Some, up and down. Some are good, some are bad. But this is not something that I wanted or that I would have even thought that would have occurred to on different levels to both of us. So I think that as caregivers, a lot of times, again, we don't know what to say.
Yeah.
We're questioning what we should do or what we should not do. And I think it's important to ask the person or to sometimes just be silent. Because I could tell you the plenty times that Regina called me, I was silent. I was laughing. I was like, "Girl, you crazy." She was telling me about, "Let me tell you what this person said to me." And I would laugh. I was silent. I would come in with my little side jokes or, start cursing with her. But then, I just think that we always want to, we always want to be able to tell someone, well, do this and do that. And, personally, that doesn't work. If anything, me personally, it makes me not want to be around people. It makes me, because I don't want pity. I don't want you to tell me what I should be doing. And I don't want to tell you, a whole story about what I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being around I call them, I don't have any snowflakes in my life. So those are the ones that come in. They want to be there because they want to be seen, or they want to say what they've done for you. So Vanessa, let me tell you about Telonya. After my girls, here we go.
She's so funny.
Hey, Joe. Hey, Jace. After my girls was born, my husband broke his leg on a mountain bike. They were how many days old? Not even a week.
3 days, 4?
3-4 days.
Yeah.
I did not even, I called my inner circle. And now my inner circle right here on this live comments, right here. I called them, but I'd already had a schedule together. I called Vanessa. I called everybody. I called Vanessa to go bleep, 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 bleep. He went mountain biking, but I told him to get out the house and go mountain biking. He called me, I think, something's wrong. And I was like, no, your leg is broke. Keep it on. But Telonya came down, and her mother, Bobby, not going to cry. Girls with old. Her mother, my mother is gone. My girls don't have a grandmother that they see. They don't have a connection. So Bobby came, and she ain't never left. And now it is killing her. They were Sharon corrected me. They were 7 days old.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 7 days old. Telonya came down. Did you come down with Chase or by yourself?
I think I want to say, I can't remember. I want to say I came by myself.
Yeah, and she just jumped in.
Yeah.
Called Cassandra, called Tamara, called all my friends. If I'm leaving you out, I'm not trying to. It's the cocktailing. And just jumped in. So I did. I had Vanessa that I can say bleep, bleep, bleep to. And Telonya, all I had to do was say, hey, and she was here. Then I go, to Cassandra's house, and it's just like, you got the key, you got the code. Bam, why are you calling me to get in? It was just like those things that you need. You need your family, but you need to know who your snowflakes are too, and be okay with it. You gotta be okay with them not being in your life anymore. I don't know if you've ever experienced it, not just in this situation, but when they're gone, I'm like, ooh, goodness, I don't even miss them.
I don't have a lot of people in my life, so
Thank you for letting me in.
No, I don't deal with that.
Yeah. And my temperament is like, I don't, and folks, they can get it when they get it. Kick rocks, throw shoes on them. Just saying. No, but it's important to keep the good vibes in your, like you said, you don't deal with it, Telonya, which is great. Vanessa definitely ain't gonna deal with it, because first of all, she's not gonna tell nobody.
Yeah.
Get her to come out and play.
There's so much shade. So much shade. So much shade.
Just a little bit, just a tiny bit. But
on tea.
But ladies, people ask me, why am I talking about chemo glow? And it is not just about chemo. Every podcast, every show I do, you won't hear us always talk about cancer. But when I started in September last year, and I put out that one podcast. I sent it to Telonya, I sent it to Vanessa, I sent it to a bunch of people to get feedback. But then it became real. I am now sharing my story with other people to comment on, which don't bother me at all. But I wanted to know your thoughts. But then I started doing the podcast and listening to my friends. And then seeing that my friends are the ones that have been touched by the glow, that's not good. Like, what can we do? So I'm learning through this podcast. When I truly say the glow doesn't define me, I define the glow. The first thing I don't. The first thing out my mouth is not I'm a cancer this. I'm a cancer that. It's me. So 9 years out, I'm still talking about it because guess what? Once you go through active treatment, whatever your active treatment is, from medication to surgery to radiation to therapy, you're still doing it. You still have one more year, right, Telonya? Um,
I'll be finished in August.
and I had to add an extra 2 years on mine because I was pregnant and I could not get on it afterwards for a while. So you're 10 years, 10 years with side effects, 10 years with this. It doesn't stop once you hear those three words.
I
It,
wish it did.
I wish it did. I wish it did. And I wish that my loved ones didn't have to hear those words said to
Mhm.
them. It's me saying it. And you know what, Vanessa, I can even relate. I didn't say it to my family. Tavares did. I said it maybe to my sister, and I come back and I think years later, how hard was that for him to tell everybody that his new wife had cancer, and he didn't know hardly anybody. I was call him, call my sister. So it's not just us going through; our family is battling it as well. They're dealing with it. You know, you have your sister who's up in Maryland, right?
Mhm.
Dealing with it on her level. You're dealing with it your level, and you have another sister. You have two brothers. Like all that stuff, it affects the whole family. So it's important that guys, when we're talking about this, we're advocating, we're educating, and we're encouraging. I know that my words are harsh with Vanessa because that is my girl. My words that I had with Cassandra was totally different. That was another shock thing. Please listen to our podcast. But I know if I didn't have those words, if I didn't get the words that I've received from so many people, I wouldn't be here. So we need to listen to our bodies. We need to do our regular maintenance, and we need to make sure we take care of ourselves and the others that are not snowflakes.
And the reality is, Regina, that every day somebody's getting diagnosed with cancer.
Every hour.
And so there are people that you think you're in the zone of, oh, I don't know anyone that has had cancer, or I haven't had a family member or friend pass from cancer. But every day somebody's getting diagnosed with cancer, and it is a sucker punch.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. It's a sucker punch. You don't know what hit you, and you are
Yeah.
whirling, just going in circles like, what do I do? Where do I go? Just like that. So I think this type of broadcast and those podcasts,
Mm-hmm.
to me, are information. They're real moments. Like,
Mm-hmm.
everything is out there. It's a lot of transparency.
Yeah.
If I was limited to what I would be able to say, then I would think to myself, it's not useful. But I think hearing the laughter and sometimes cursing, reality, sometimes cursing and just the crying or whatever we're going through, it's
Mm-hmm.
real, and that would help me more than someone um, changing their words to be very fluffy, because I
Yeah.
don't fluffy doesn't work for me. You gotta
Mhm.
get straight to the core.
Yeah. You have to. You need the facts. You can't be silent, no matter what the illness is. You need to speak up. Well, girls, we have been, or ladies, on here
I'm
for
a
an hour and
girl.
43 girls. Hour and 43 minutes. And I'm not sure how many people have asked any questions. Um, but I definitely want to make sure if you do have questions, if you want to be interviewed on our podcast, please just go to Chemo Glow on Facebook. Review us, share, like, do watch parties. I would love to talk to more people and just put it out there. Currently, we're up to 8 episodes, and I think I'm going to have to start putting them out a little bit more. I said every 16 days, but editing is not cheap. So,
Tamara said he has a question.
who has a question?
Tamara.
What's that? Yes, look at that pictures, everything.
You know what his picture is? His preparation outfit for him to go out after we're out of the stay at home. That was funny.
Maybe for another show. No, please ask. Please ask. Just remember, we're on a delay, so it takes a minute for it to come up. Did you know you were on screen? So it'll take a minute for us to.
Yeah, I want to tell tomorrow they're already over by 36 minutes. So go ahead and ask your question.
Like we're already over.
And they still didn't let me talk, but that's all right.
No, I said pop in. I thought you was gonna pop in and talk, and you popped in and then went back off again.
Here's what I wanted to say. Well, first of all, here's tomorrow has a question. Has his question.
Yes. So, how do you take religious comments? I'll start with you, Telonya.
Really? Well, I welcome them.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I don't think I got any religious comments that were not addressed in a way for me to take them.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of things that people say to me, I don't take them personally. I can always get something out of it, no matter what you say to me. And my whole walk through cancer was I believed in God.
Mm-hmm.
I always talked to God.
Mm-hmm.
I knew God was going to heal me. That's just me. That's just me in my ways. I know some people aren't always that way, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I talk to him all the time. So all the time, even now, I talk to him all the time. So he was always in my life from the beginning. Yeah. So, and not always good. There were some bad conversations with him as well. So, but that's our conversations between the two of us. So yeah, but I didn't really get inside, any religious comments that weren't good to take. But I think some people do offer comments that aren't good, or you don't see it as good because you're not in that moment.
And that space.
Recognize it in a good way. So,
well,
Regina.
I'll wait.
I don't get comments because I didn't tell anyone.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Well, for me, my thing was I call them church folks.
Well, thank you.
No, you're not a church folk. My sarcasm here, because that's a good question. Because anytime I was having a private moment to myself, and maybe a family member expressed that, pray for Regina or whatever, they were like, she just doesn't have faith. She needs to know that God is going to heal her. And that's when I would call Vanessa and be like, this said whatever, but she still has a boob. And she has not been through radiation, PE, on the table. So church folks drive me crazy. It's different. I have a very strong faith. It didn't bother me what you said. I had to be careful how I responded because I was in a place of anger and not sadness. Because you have to remember, my brother, my best friend, Alex Christopher Johnson, died. My father died years later. My mother died right after that. So all I've been living and seeing is death and dying. And in that process, church folks literally was coming to my mom's deathbed. All my family was at church that Sunday. It was my time to watch my mom. Someone knocks on the door and started talking about the love letter and how they need to come get Sister Johnson's tithes and offering. Now, Sister Johnson then gave tithes, offering, and paid off taxes to this church that won't her taxes. But my mom was faithful. And my thing, I thought it was disrespectful. And it wasn't showing grace and mercy. But they really like, well, if you can get her to sign the check. So when it came to me, it was very hard to deal with church folks. And I'm not talking about the ones that, I'm talking about the ones that make you scratch your head. And I just remember my mom said, don't say nothing. She always did it with a smile. Terry Adele Robinson says, is it hard to stay positive and involved? For me, it was very hard, but the American Cancer Society, when I was doing the event, were making strides at the very beginning. The first thing I did was they had a fashion show. Telonya, you can remember this. They had a fashion show, and I was the one responsible for reading everybody's cover story, putting it together, getting it out, and doing like the music and all that type of stuff. So I looked at everybody's cover story, and everybody's story was different, but they were all there for the same cause. That made me want to be there 40 hours a week, not paid, but I actually worked there. But it was because I needed to stay positive in a negative space. Did y'all catch that? I needed to stay positive in a negative space. That way I can take that negative space and I can put that positivity into it. So it's sometimes hard. And even it's hard on the podcast to hear my friends recount their story. But I want to stay positive in a negative space before I can give back in a positive way. God, I was deep in
I should have had a light in here. I don't. A flash up.
Oh, Vanessa, they don't know about my days back at poetry. Stop playing. So yeah, Terry, it is hard. And Terry, it's definitely hard for me. But Telonya said in the great words of Telonya, and I still remember this because she was at a soup kitchen on Thanksgiving in 2012. Her and Chase, her daughter, and I'm like, hey, what you doing? I'm at a soup kitchen. What? Did you just do the walk with the sister network and blah, blah, blah? She's like, yeah, I can sleep when I'm dead.
It's true.
What can you say to that?
Yeah.
So now I'll text every once in a blue moon and say, I can sleep when I'm dead.
Yeah.
So let's go get it. Telonya, have you ever volunteered somewhere? I know you were in, and I don't know if this is a story you want to share, but when you volunteered somewhere, you were in a certain fashion show, and you decided not to be in that fashion show anymore, because sometimes the cause is not what you think it's going to be. Would you care?
Yeah. Well, I just would say if you feel a certain way about things, and if you feel like it's just not for you, then follow that. Follow that impulse. Follow that feeling. Don't let anyone make you feel like you're less than yourself, regardless of what you've been through.
Yeah.
So once you feel that way, just decide for yourself to step away from it instead of making yourself do something that you don't want to do, step away. Just walk away from it. Yeah. And that's the decision I made. And I won't go into any more detail than that. But
Okay. But I'm glad, because I also learned that, when we talk about pimping pink for the cure, there's power in that pink. So you want to make sure you're going to the right causes. Like everything I've mentioned, all the organizations I mentioned, that's because I actually volunteered there. And I've seen what they've done in not just my community, but other communities. So it's important to make sure that you do stay positive, you do volunteer, or you getting something that brings you joy. And all the places that I was at, it brought me joy. And at any given point, they can call me and I'll be there. I got something out of it.
Uncle Mike, were you going to ask something?
yeah, he has something to say.
I got to check and make sure the mic is on.
It's on.
It is.
What I was going to say, it refers back to advocating for your care. Now, luckily, I don't have cancer. I do have 6 doctors. I have a cardiologist. I have another one that checks on my blood pressure. I have another one that checks on sleep apnea. I have another one that checks on blood sugar, blood glucose levels. And Regina was very lucky that she had Tavares to speak up for her. Some people don't have that. And everybody needs to know you need to speak up for yourself. Now, hopefully, a lot of the people that's listening in, they have health insurance. If they have health insurance, about once a month, either online or in the mail, you get a little thing called explanation of benefits. And if you take a look at that, you see that the doctors get their money. They may not get it from you, they get some from you, and they get a whole lot more from the insurance company. They charge ridiculous amounts of money, and they get a lot of it. So you need to speak up. You need to ask questions. You need to have things explained to you if you don't understand them. If that means spell it, if that means no, you got to take more time with me, then you need to do it.
Yes.
You can't sit there. My parents, they used to go to doctors, and whatever the doctors told them to do, they just did it.
Yeah.
And that's not happening with me. I didn't have doctors until I had health insurance when I turned 65. And when I got Medicare, that's when I went to the doctor, and I started getting all of these doctors. And I told each and every doctor, you are going to tell me exactly what you are doing. And if I don't agree with what you're doing, I'm not going to let you do it, and I'm going to get another opinion.
Advocate.
And that's what each and every person out there needs to do.
You have
now that I finished saying that, I'm going to have my glass of wine.
Okay. Do y'all see a pattern here with that? You have to advocate for your care, guys. It is so important. So I don't know how many people joined us in this project. I have no idea. If it was just people, hey. If it was 20 people, hey. I hope you got something out of it. Snowflake, you like that? You're in full screen.
I know that. Joke doesn't work otherwise.
Are you sure you didn't open up that bottle before? Snowflake, I love it. Are you sure you didn't open it? Are you sure behind the scenes is doing it? I cannot believe that we've been on for 2.
It's up to them.
Telonya, I believe we're gonna keep Uncle Mike.
Oh, and I have a nice big glass here that I can use too.
He has a mason
You
jar.
see, it runs in the family. Yeah, big
Yeah,
glasses.
Vanessa has a bowl.
Well, first of all, let me just say this: all you people out there that are telling your kids we don't have favorites, you're a bunch of liars. Vanessa is one of my favorite nieces and what have you because I can talk to her almost any time and she makes me laugh.
Yep.
And Uncle Mike loves to laugh. So I have a good time with Vanessa, and for the other people in the audience,
Mhm.
me doing this live stream is the first I even knew of Vanessa having cancer.
Wait, hold on, Uncle Mike. Let me tell you. Let me say. So I call him Uncle Mike. Okay, Uncle Mike. I was calling you Miss Mike. Now you're Uncle Mike. To me too. When I was working on this, Vanessa says, "Let me call my Uncle Mike. He does it, for a living." And when he first heard like the first 3 minutes of my podcast, he basically told me it sucked. Don't say
I was tired.
So I text Telonya and said, "This man said my podcast sucks. It has a cold opening. I don't get it." And I was like, "How much did you listen to?" Maybe I could. I know he said I couldn't get through 3 to 5 minutes of it. I'll listen to it later. So here's this person I want to help produce and help out, right?
Keep talking.
And he comes back to me and he gave me homework. He wanted to see if I was serious. Like he is in that bottle. He came back to me and he gave me homework. I texted him and said, I did my homework. And so just waiting for his feedback. Now go, Uncle Mike, before you drink out of straw.
No. You tell him. You tell
So
him.
then when he came back, I must have been tired. I must have been having a bad day because you are amazing. Do you do this for a living? Do you do interviewing? I was like, no. And then he was like, I don't know that lady's name. I'm gonna mess it up. Telonya, the whatever. In episode 2, she
3
was
times I messed it up.
yes. Even in the actual live,
It's okay.
First of all,
she said
it's not on purpose.
yeah.
It's okay.
Okay, it's
She said she
Telonya.
used it. Telonya.
I have a problem with African Americans. I'm sorry.
Oh,
So
my
we're gonna roll, and that we're gonna
No, don't stop me.
we're gonna keep going with his comment. I see what you mean. Laughter is the key. So he actually just said that
This is for Barbara. It's yellowtail,
Tanya,
big bold red. It's $4.99 a bottle. I'm 66 years old. I don't have that much money.
yeah, your mom just asked that question. I loved it. But Vanessa uncle did not find out about anything involving cancer, or if you had or if you didn't. And we were doing a backup production show, and he said, Vanessa, let me ask you something. Do you have cancer? And Vanessa said, just listen to the podcast.
Which I still haven't done, by the way.
Yeah, the end of it.
Yeah, I don't want to be in front of the audience. So
Yeah. So it's important, guys, that even with family, when they find out and the way he asked it, it was just that simple, and we just kept moving. Like Vanessa said, that whole probing, I do it because I can.
people need to realize it's.
Uh-huh.
I don't want to oversimplify it.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say it in an oversimplified way. It's just life.
Yeah.
Vanessa has her problems. I have my problems. My brother has his problems. Everybody has problems. You're responsible for how you react to the disease that you have.
Mm-hmm.
For most of the people that I'm talking to right now, it happens to be cancer, but it could be anything.
Yeah.
Every single one of the things that my 6 doctors are dealing with deal with the fact that I have too much weight on my body.
Mm-hmm.
So they're giving me all these pills and all these different regimens and routines and what have you. And it's going like, I really think I need to hire a personal trainer.
Yeah. Just get out there. You're responsible for your outcome. You have some say so in that.
But
Yeah,
again, that comes back to that self-care again that you guys were saying so much. It comes back to self-care when Telonya said, whether you have cancer or don't have cancer, it's very important to make sure you have self-care with your body. So I think that's
the whole podcast number 3 that Regina did with DJ. There's information in that podcast that is functional for me.
Yeah, that's what he said. And I hope that the audience can connect to all the podcasts or maybe one or a snippet of the other. But if you haven't, please go back and listen or re-listen to episodes 1 through 4. Those episodes are This Is My Truth. That's episode 1. Pimpin' Pink for the Cure. Definitely Telonya, episode 2. Episode 3 was The Heal with DJ. And episode 4 was a bonus.
You heard it at the beginning of this.
At the very beginning. Right. So this is my day. And Vanessa's is coming out June 1st. It's called What Cancer? Please listen to it in its entirety. It's pretty long. But guys, I want to thank you for coming out for our first live broadcast. Please leave a comment. Please like, share. If you didn't like it, comment. Let me know. You could just be a snowflake.
Well, let me rephrase that. If you comment on what can be done better or more productive, more helpful.
Oh, she's always that way.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. Thank you, Vanessa. Yeah.
So thank you so much, guys. Telonya and Vanessa, I appreciate you coming on. This will not be the last time because I need to get dressed. I need to put on clothes every once in a blue moon. So
I think next time we need to figure out this echo because I think it was in the whole thing and I don't know where it's come from.
Well, we'll definitely figure it out. We'll go to the show after this and figure it out. But guys, I want to thank you for coming out.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Thanks so much.
Telonya, Regina.
Cheers.
Have a good night.
Bye,
Night.
Bye.
Bye.
Some wave music.
Bye.
And scene. Hey, guys.